Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Season 2 retrospective recap thingy-dealy thing.
Hold on to your butts, because I'm mad.
Worf canonically has two dicks.
They're where I want to be, in the void.
Hands are the lips of the body. Dr. C was not in this. Whoopi Goldberg is in this show? Okay. I have an idea. It's not very good, as usual.
So excited that we're finished Season 2.
I'm also excited because it means that we no longer have to watch Season 2. And really, that's the best gift of all.
Yes, but we do have one unfortunate piece of business to get to. So if you listen to our last episode, you'll know that this season is a very special circumstance in that we did not watch the finale episode.
There is no finale episode.
Yeah. Dory has watched it, and she has some notes.
She has some opinions.
Yeah, so we're going to wrap up our discussion of that episode into the retrospective because I think it works pretty well because it's a clip show episode. Ugh. So it's kind of a retrospective in its own right. So the thing you have to know about the finale is that it was done during a big writer's strike, and that's why it's a horrible, terrible piece of shit.
Most of the season was done during a writer's strike, so
yes.
I mean, they did what they did.
Yeah. So the episode is called Shades of Grey. The original air date was July 15th, 1989, and we'll turn it over to Dory for her thoughts.
Okay, I'll do a tiny recap just because, there is, I'll say, quote unquote, a story here.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, Geordi and Riker are on this planet doing a geological survey, and Riker gets jabbed with something in his leg, and he's brought up, before they can bring up, they're oh, there's a foreign substance in your leg, and I don't know why that's a whole thing, because they bring him up anyways, and it's okay, cool. So then we learn it's some kind of I would almost say a parasite or something, but it's basically attacking Riker's nervous system. Mm-hmm. And when it gets to his brain, it will kill him.
Oh, no.
So as a way to Dr. P comes up with this plan of okay, if we can I don't know, do stuff with his memories, then he can fight the virus with his memories or something.
I totally forgot about that part of it.
So, the episode is mostly Troy and Dr. P looking worried.
Yep.
And Dr. P being oh, okay. I don't know how she knows what he's dreaming about, but I don't know. It comes down to kind of categories. So I actually wrote down, all of the different flashes. So, in his memories, it's, kind of themed. Mm-hmm. So there's, the horny section. I'm not even joking, literally. It's the horny section, in which also we see some nice, blasts from the past, such as Minuet, who honestly kind of was oh my God, hey girl, what's up? I haven't seen you in a hot minute. We got to see a quick return of Brenna. Oh, Riker's glitter outfit with the girl boss of the planet.
Oh, right, yeah.
He stayed on, where the women were the leaders. Mm-hmm. And then it switches to the sad shit. So it's Yar's death, Troy's son dying, and then a bunch of stuff. And then according to I wrote my notes, because according to Dr. P, sadness is the opposite of horny.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't. She doesn't say that, but she basically implies, oh, it's the opposite. And I'm what? What universe is horny? Horny and sadness.
In my experience, it's two sides of the same coin.
And she does say, though, she goes, we need to isolate memories that generate stronger negative emotions. Mm. So I wrote, just bring up his memories of his dad.
Nice.
But instead, it's just Riker kicking the shit out of Clag from
yeah.
When he goes on his school trip to the Klingon ship.
Oh yeah.
And when he's held hostage by the guys from the episode where that planet is like basically making drug addicts out of another planet.
Oh, right, yeah.
And yeah, so they also had like, Riker being dragged into that piece of shit we unfortunately know as Armus, the oil monster.
Yeah.
And yeah, at one point, like, it just goes to a lot of flashes, and we have this really quick, gross flash of like Dexter's neck bubbling.
Oh, yeah.
From, I can't remember like any names of
that was from
episodes. I need
Conspiracy.
to write this down. Oh, yes, yes. In total, there are 35 different... Actually, that's not true. They're not different, because there's like a bunch of them where he just goes, now, a bunch of times. But they're cut, so like separately. So he's like, goes, now, and a ship explodes. He goes, now, a ship explodes. But yeah, there's 35 basically like little flashbacks. And yeah, so from him having all these... His memories defeats the virus parasite thing, and he's fine, except when he wakes up, Dr. P's like, I just wanted to be certain that you still know who you are. And Riker goes, of course I know who I am. I'm Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise. And then Picard goes, I'm delighted you're feeling better, Captain. The Admiral and I were worried about you. And then Data goes, Captain, I do not believe you have the authority to promote me to the rank of Admiral. And then they all just kind of smile, and it ends. And I'm like, what?
Dun 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 dun.
Yep.
That's like Dr. P's last episode. So like, bye.
Okay, Dory, for the record, this episode was shot. This episode was shot in 3 days. Normally they take 7.
It shows.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Is it okay? I have a question before we get into your thoughts. Is this episode as useless as we made it out to be?
Yes. But I will say, I did get a laugh. I just thought that I mean, I've said this before. I didn't realize how horny this show was. But then, man, they really like to remind us how horny it is.
They need you to know. It's important.
So yeah, Riker's horny memories were actually harming him, and they needed his like negative memories to save him. So Riker, wow.
Riker, you dog.
Yeah, I did write in my notes though that like I do appreciate Riker's pretty blue eyes in this episode. There was just like when he's lying on the examination table, his like, I don't know, his eye color really comes through.
Oh. Yeah.
And it looks nice.
Probably because the light is shining like directly.
Oh, yes. That would make sense. Also, that sparkly blanket was a choice.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, pretty useless.
For the record, everybody who made this episode was completely aware that it was useless.
Yeah.
Apparently, the production studio was like, okay, so look, we gave you money to do Elementary Dear Data, and we gave you money to do the Borg episode. So now do us a favor and do a cheap one.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of something you have to deal with.
Yeah, it's like they had to do a bottle episode, but also they had no writers, so.
And no money.
And no money, yeah.
But on that note, the guy who did the editing on the episode, he actually had a joke name for it, and he was trying to persuade them to name the episode Riker's Brain.
Yeah, how did they end up with shades of gray? What does that have to do? Is it because, brains are gray and his brain had to fight it?
I mean, maybe, because brains are sometimes referred to as gray matter.
The editor said, well, I decided it was a really bizarre episode that wasn't really black or white. It was just shades of gray. Oh, so that's what I called it.
Boo.
Oh, because it's so boring.
Yep. Yep, and they knew that.
Wait, so did you want it to... Was that like the Riker's brain thing? Was that supposed to be a reference to Spock's brain?
Yes, exactly.
Which is famously the worst episode of the original series.
Mm-hmm.
Where someone steals Spock's brain and they have to control him with a remote control.
And then they got to go find him.
Yeah.
Or find the brain.
I've got lots of questions. I don't think we have time for answers.
No.
Yeah.
Because this would take too long.
Yeah. So yeah, this is why we didn't do a separate episode about this, because there's no way we could have gotten an entire episode talking about this one.
I mean, you just finished describing it. And like that was under 10 minutes.
And like the first 3 minutes are me introing shit.
Yeah, it was kind of like some nice little blast from the past moments of like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, forgot about that.
Now imagine all the people watching this on TV, and it would just be like, oh, hey, I think I remember that from like a year ago.
Yeah, it probably would have been more useful to a television audience of that era because you don't have like, I don't think you have like home video quite at this point. I doubt they would have sold the episodes yet.
Okay, so home video existed. I think they were selling the episodes at this point. However, $5 per episode
Yeah.
on VHS. So like it's pretty pricey. Most people were not taping it. Some people did. My mom did. But I mean, we all grew up in the 90s. We remember when a clip show episode would come on. Most of the time I would just sit and watch it anyway because I liked the show.
Yeah, it's just a nice little like, oh, cool, because you know, all you have is reruns and or buying an expensive VHS. You know?
Yes.
So it probably wasn't like as dumb of an idea at the time.
There is something worse, and it really does blow when a long-running series does a cheesy clip show.
I always loved Simpsons clip shows, though.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Even with the option to rewatch any episode I want at any time, sometimes I will choose to watch one of the clip show episodes.
Well, because the original content in it is just as high quality as the rest of it, which you cannot say that about this episode of TNG. So
yeah, and with The Simpsons, it's like, you know, maybe you don't feel like watching a specific episode, so you just want like a highlights compilation, basically.
yeah,
And their framing device was usually pretty funny, also.
yes.
You know what this reminded me of? Like, their Community kind of did an episode where it kind of spun this concept on its head a bit, where it's in theory a clip show, but it's completely new material. So they're sitting there like flashing back to stuff that we never saw, but now we're seeing for the first time. So I think that's kind of a cool way to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, this kind of made me think of Community. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's over. I hope is there any more clip shows in this series?
No.
No, that is the
Okay,
only one
good.
in all of Star Trek, and they never repeated that mistake.
Cool. Good to know.
Yeah. I think it was like combination of writer's strike and they're like, have no more budget left. Are you glad you watched it? Do you regret watching it? Anything like that?
No, I'm glad I watched it just so I get like the full scope of, you know, how bad it can get. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I just like, I think it would have bothered me if I didn't watch this because then it just would have been like, what was it? I know that you guys say it's bad and it's not worth it, but I still want to know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't regret watching it, but like I know I've seen it once. I don't ever have to see it again.
But you understand why we say it's like you literally
absolutely.
do not have to watch this episode.
Yeah, it doesn't. It truly does nothing to anything.
Yeah.
It's like very much throwaway, but it's fine.
Yeah. So I think this is a good place to transition then into your thoughts of season 2 on a whole and maybe how it compared to season 1 for you.
I think with season 2, I think it kind of elevated my expectations in a way because we got some really good episodes. Like I really, really loved Elementary Dear Data and I really loved The Measure of a Man. And I just, from watching those and you guys saying like this is sort of the level it gets to.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any episodes that are kind of comparable to those in the first season. I mean, like Conspiracy was good, Coming of Age was good, and The Long Goodbye is good. But I think these like episodes, I can only say for myself, but it felt like these were a different level of good. So if like it only is going up from here, it makes me very excited.
Yeah.
And I think like season 2 is better than season 1, which makes sense. You know, season 1, they're trying to find their footing. But yeah, I enjoyed season 2 more, and I'm hoping that I'll enjoy season 3 even more.
I hope so too, because season 3 is generally considered to be like the first season where they finally have this figured out, and it's kind of considered the first season where it's like the first like actual good season.
Oh, I just remembered. I think part of what I liked with season 2 is we got to know some of the characters way more than we did in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
So like Riker, we learned so much more about Riker in season 2.
Yeah.
We got a lot of good like Worf stuff in season 2. We got some good Data stuff and even a bit more Troy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we also got Troy's lovely baby episode.
Oh, nope. What episode? I don't know what
Yeah.
that is. What? So yeah, I think just getting to know the characters, I think that was something I really wanted in season, I think I said in like our season 1 retrospective, is like I really want to just maybe get to know characters more. Maybe
Yeah.
I didn't. I have no idea. I don't remember what I said in the season 1.
You definitely said things along those lines of like,
Or maybe character development or something.
yeah, I wish I knew these people more, or like had a reason to care about them, you know?
Yeah, I think like I like these people, and I don't think there's anyone on like the main team that I don't like.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Dr. P.
I mean, she's goodbye, Dr. P.
Yeah.
So like,
Doctor
it's
who?
not like I think the only person that I truly have a beef with is O'Brien, and it's for reasons I can't explain other than I don't know why.
It's okay. You've barely gotten to know O'Brien so far. So
Yeah.
he's just supposed to be like a weird everyman that's there every now and then. And to be fair, this is something they
I
do
don't care
less and
for
less as Star Trek goes along. But something they did constantly in TOS is they would have a character who would be around, and you'd see them once every few episodes or so, and they would just have like, you know, short little moments there. And you never really got to know them because they weren't part of the main cast, but they were always there. So that's what O'Brien is right now.
Oh, that makes me think of my random hot guy who showed up a couple of times in season 2.
Oh no, they
Yeah.
would have more. They would have more than that. They would get like actual names, and they would get like a fair bit of dialogue.
Yeah.
And they would be there. They would be considered like normal characters to be around, but they'd only be featured in a total of like, you know, 10 episodes.
Yeah, you know how you have like A characters and B characters? They'd be like
yeah.
a C or a D character.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they definitely do it less with Star Trek as Star Trek goes on.
Yeah, and you definitely
Okay.
get to know O'Brien more as the series goes on.
We'll see about that. Yeah, but I'm glad we got to know the team better. And minus Dr. P. Like, here's the thing. I don't hate Dr. P.
Mm-hmm. She made a real bad first impression.
Oh, absolutely. And then continued to make
Yeah, I was about to say
impressions.
it didn't
Yeah.
really stop being a bad impression.
Yeah, they sort of softened the blow as the season went on, but it still like wasn't great.
And I mean, she finally showed some respect to Data, which is like growth, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't hate her. I don't like her, but I don't hate her.
Mm.
And I think that's like, I mean, very rarely are there shows where I like everybody.
Yeah.
That's fair. She left with, there was no ill will between her and the rest of them, but she felt like she didn't really mesh with the cast and the writers. The cast and the writers felt like they didn't really mesh with her, and
Yeah.
they had an option to get Gates McFadden back, so they did.
Yeah.
Dr. C.
Yep.
And I think like the actress who played Dr. P was great.
Diana Muldaur, yeah.
Yeah.
She was actually in the original series as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think if like I ever see her in something else, I'll be like, oh, hey, Dr. P. I'll be like excited
Yeah.
to see the actress, which I think is like a credit to her. I think that's also kind of why I don't hate Dr. P is the
Yeah.
credit of the actress who like she didn't, though like she said some shitty things.
Yeah.
She wasn't like a complete monster.
Yeah, she did what was asked of the character, but they
Yeah.
just made errors with the character.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like the
No?
way that that Diana Muldaur delivered with that character, specifically like with line delivery, it definitely goes back to more like 1960s type line delivery, where a lot of speech was more not enunciated, but it seemed to be more like punctuated. And
Yeah.
I feel like you don't really get that with the rest of the cast, even some of the older people in the cast. So I think that was just kind of, it's a product of the fact that she was older than them and delivering things on a different level. So that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not holding that against her. I think that that's just another reason that she didn't really fit with the rest of the cast.
Yeah, I guess it just didn't mesh with how everyone else was doing their thing.
Yeah, because most of the rest of the cast, they're either more modern actors or they're Shakespearean trained actors, and you can see it.
Yeah. I feel like it's a missed opportunity because it would have been really nice to have, like, you know, an older woman represented.
Yes.
Because you very rarely see that.
Very true.
Especially one who's, like, who is confident in her abilities and, like, a little bit more, like, you know, like Dr. McCoy, like, a little more rough around the edges,
yeah,
so to speak, you know. I tried to think of, like, okay, do I not like this character because she's a dick, or do I think she's a dick because she's acting in the way a man typically would, and there's just some, like, you know, internalized misogyny there.
Okay.
I can confidently say I think she's just a dick, because the way she spoke to Data, I don't care if it's a man or a woman, the way they spoke to Data in the first meeting, or that first, I think it was like the second episode of the season. I don't remember. But like, regardless of if anybody said that, I'd be like, excuse me, step the fuck back.
Yeah.
That is my Data.
Yeah, that's the same conclusion I came to. It's like, you know, in evaluating it, I'm like, no, she was actually, like, a dick.
Yeah.
I think if they didn't give her such a rough introduction, I think it would have been fine, because I thought she was fine most of the rest of the season. Like when she wasn't, you know, being condescending to Data, I thought she was fine for the most part. Like after those first few episodes. But I'm ecstatic to get Beverly back, though.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to see her call everybody out and just be like, haha, I'm back, all you dumb bitches. I'm so excited.
I'll be honest, I was a little worried about this season. It's weird, like, I have, like, these weird reservations, like, because the episodes get better, I'm like, are the podcast episodes gonna get worse?
Oh, yeah, because we won't have as much to make fun of.
Yeah, because we had a lot of fun with season 1.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
There's so much to rip on.
Do you know, I don't think that'll be an issue. I think, like, we can always find stuff. I mean, how long did we spend in an episode, or, like, last time or a couple episodes ago, where we talk about, like, how do you go to the bathroom in the ship?
Space,
and that's just like a side, that's like,
it's
that's
a long
whole sidetrack thing. Yeah. I think we can find stuff. I'm not worried.
Oh, for sure. And, like, the thing that is, like, I love Star Trek so much, and I'm excited for you to see, like, what I consider the good parts of it. Like, the stuff that is what made me love the show.
Okay, Maggie, I'll tell you what. Okay, if the episodes get boring, we just skip TNG, skip DS9, go straight to Voyager, because then there's a ton to make fun of.
Yeah. Although, is there? Because, like...
Oh, there is.
I think
our
main complaint is that every episode would be, this is a waste of an idea.
Oh, okay. Well, then we could go to Enterprise instead.
Yeah.
Scott Bakula.
Because then it would be, this is a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm not saying every single episode going forward is a winner, but I think there's more good than bad.
Nice.
And the end of season 3, we finally get what we would recognize as, like, a proper season finale.
Ooh.
So that I'm looking forward to.
The stakes have never been higher.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, like, I've always considered season 2 is when you start to see glimpses of what the show becomes, of what it can be. We had a real rough start to this season, and I was worried that you were not going to believe me when I said that season 2 is an improvement.
Yeah, it was a rough start. The episode that will not be named.
Yeah.
But like, I assumed when you guys were hyping up season 2, like, this wasn't it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you do have to admit it got better.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm just saying that episode wasn't it.
Oh,
like,
no.
Wasn't what you were referring to. So, I mean, because I think the next episode or 2 episodes later was Elementary Dear Data.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
like, that immediately, like, it's like, oh, this is what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. I do have a question, though. Do you feel like we've, at any point, like, do you think we hyped up this season too much? Do you think we underplayed it? How do you think, like...
No, I think it was like a good balance, because you guys said from the beginning that it's better than season 1, but, and they have like some like good stuff throughout, but like season 3, I think you guys had said like by the end of season 3, that's when it sort like gets to be the way it is. So like I wasn't expecting like, oh my god, every episode's gonna be a 10, or maybe not 10, like an 8. But so like, but I do get why you guys hyped it the way you did, because I did get to see the level of like how good, when they actually like, when the writers want to, they can put together a good episode.
Yeah.
So no, I think it was like a decent amount. Like it was a good in between amount of hype. You didn't overhype, you didn't underhype.
Yeah, because I'm always struggling to find the balance of like
the right amount of hype.
Yeah. Like, we don't want to give you spoilers, but like I do want to give you some expectations.
Yeah, so I don't turn around and run away from the show.
Yeah. So it's I'm always we are always trying to strike that balance of how many crumbs to give you, and not to let our love for the show kind of cloud. You know, we don't want to
influence me.
Yeah, we don't want to influence you, and we don't want to I don't want to overhype shit. I don't want to be like, oh my god, this season's great, or this episode's great, and you watch it and it's like, it's okay. But it's just because I have all these feelings attached to it, I feel it's better than maybe it actually is. Which is one of the reasons why I love doing this, is to see like just a super fresh perspective from someone who really doesn't know anything about the show other than like what's made it into the mainstream. And in general, I think you've said you're usually like you don't really watch sci-fi in general.
I've watched some sci-fi,
but it's not like your genre.
Yeah, no, I'm much more of I love a costume drama and comedy.
Oh, good for you, though. The writers of Star Trek seem to love costume dramas, too.
Yes, somebody knew I was going to watch 32 years later.
So, for the record, the next season actually represents the series getting more popular as well. The top viewership episode in this season was A Matter of Honor, which, as you recall, was when Riker took a trip to a Klingon ship.
That was the exchange program. Yeah.
But all in all, the episode was averaging about 10 million viewers. The season was averaging about 10 million viewers for the second half of it.
Holy shit.
Yep. And the next season, things changed up, and it started off a little slow and then ramped up and was averaging about 10.5 to 11 million viewers. And it just keeps going up until I think season 6 or 5 or 6 was the highest.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Wow. I suppose also that those numbers are really impressive compared to like, I don't even know what TV numbers are these days. I don't have cable, so I don't even know the last time I watched a show on TV.
It's real hard to track nowadays because a lot of them do not that's just in the US, by the way. That's not worldwide. It's real hard to track because a lot of companies will not publish their viewership numbers.
And also the way TV ratings works is really fucking stupid.
Yes.
Wasn't it in like a few, like it's not in everybody, it's just in a few chosen like TVs or something, so it's not like an exact representation, because there could be a ton of people without the box thing watching the show.
Yeah, they give like a random selection of the population. It's like a box or something they attach to their TV and they see what they're watching.
Yes.
So it's like they basically like they take like they try to take like a random sample and then base it off of that, and they extrapolate from that, which like I get that was like the only way to do it, but like they still do it that way, and it's really fucking dumb. And the thing that's so stupid too is that in general, internet advertising is not priced as high as television advertising, even though you get far more accurate numbers and demographics and shit and info from the internet.
That's real
and
weird.
Is arguably reaching a wider audience.
Oh, yeah. Like half the podcasts I listen to are like, hey, do Hello Fresh. Yeah. Or like,
buy this mattress.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a whole joke because my favorite podcast is called My Favorite Murder. And their like discount code was always like a number like 50 murder. So like that was their code they used on everything to get discounts was murder. Yeah, I guess like these days it gets out because like millions and millions of people listen to podcasts.
And all 10 people listen to ours.
And yeah. And I mean, even like YouTube, like I have ExpressVPN and I was like, ooh, what, like a YouTuber I follow gave like a code and I was like, I'd rather give this person a kickback and set that up. So like, yeah, I mean, it's much easier to, I guess, keep track of shit now. Well, to an extent on certain platforms.
Yeah. And like, that's the thing too, is like with those codes and stuff, it basically like gives the company information on how many people like actually follow through with the ad.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, okay, you got this many views and we got this many orders. So this is how like effective this advertising has been on your channel and stuff like that. But it's interesting because like it's like the same like 5 companies that advertise like, you know, with influencers and YouTubers and that stuff, because like no one else SeatGeek. Yeah, it's like people still don't see the value of it, which is really dumb at this point, you know.
Yeah, I mean, every time I watch a YouTube video and they're trying to like, hey, this video is sponsored by this, I'm like, should I? No, just like, but I always consider there's like one of them that does like shampoo, like customized shampoo, conditioner, whatever.
Oh,
I can't remember what it's called.
Function of Beauty.
Yes, and I was like, is this good? Should I get this? I have really shitty hair, and I'm like, would this help me? But then I'm like, no, what? But I contemplate it.
I've actually done Function of Beauty before.
Oh, how was it?
It was fine. I don't think it's worth it. Like the shampoo and conditioner is like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's good, but it wasn't like so amazing that I'm like,
I couldn't go
yes, I should do this.
Shoppers and get a Dove shampoo for $4.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like I have, but I'm right there with you because I've also been like, should I do HelloFresh? Like maybe, you know, and then I'm like, no, that's fucking stupid. Don't do that.
Yeah, I think the only thing I've ever done, it was the ExpressVPN.
Oh yeah, I did. I think NordVPN was the one I got.
Oh yeah,
but it was also like 75% off. So I was like, I think it was like $50 for 3 years, and I'm like,
that's pretty good.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I'm like, that's a good deal.
I think there's also the like Raycon earbuds.
Yes, I've considered that because like
me too.
The thing, but I saw a review of them, and apparently like the sound quality is like so overwhelmingly bass heavy, and it's just like it's pretty shitty.
I mean, the only reason, like, I was at one point looking for new headphones, and I was looking at like the cordless and everything because it's all with Bluetooth. Unfortunately, my computer is 11 years old and cannot work with Bluetooth anymore, so I was like, that's a waste of money for me. So
that's
instead
depressing.
I have headphones for like $10. No, $20 that I got at Shoppers Drug Mart. Thanks, Shoppers.
I guess that was our advertising side tangent.
Sponsor us. No, I'm kidding. Actually, no, I'm not.
Give us money.
Give money, please. Jeff, do you have any thoughts about the season?
I try not to.
You really don't like season 2?
I think season 2 was fine. However, season 2 is not what makes me like this show.
That's fair. There are some like genuine episodes that I quite like about this season. Obviously, Measure of a Man, you know, that's the standout from this season. But like, I really like Emissary. I like Matter of Honor. I think we disagree on Where Silence Has Lease, which is the second episode.
Yes.
Where like that space entity does experiments or whatever bullshit.
Yes, I think I believed that Silence should not have had Lise.
Yeah.
And you decided that it did deserve lease, and I'm just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Fine, you can be the landlord.
I like Q-Who because I like I just like the significance of that episode. Peak performance I really like.
Oh, yeah.
Looking at the list, like there's quite a few episodes I like out of this season.
So do I. But I think what it comes down to for me is that while the season is fine, as I said, it's not exceptional yet.
Yeah, that's true. I think this is a good time to move into our like best ofs and that sort of thing.
Well, Dory,
Yes.
what's your best of everything all at once?
Okay, so I've got a few different categories.
No categories. Everything in one thing, like Thunder Cougar Falconbird.
We don't have I can't do it in that short of amount of a time.
Oh,
I guess we'll just have to do categories then.
Yeah, sorry, Jeff. Categories it is.
fine.
Category is
Star Trek
Sorry.
Eleganza. Okay, so I'll start with favorite lines, and now these are in order of like when the episode aired, so it's not in like, oh, this is
Yeah.
the best, this is it. These are just like my favorite lines in order of the season. So we start with one Riker, one bridge,
Nice.
which was
Yeah,
Worf
that's-
in Where
that's a
Silence
great
Has
one.
Lease,
Ah!
and then it from Elementary, Dear Data. Data goes, and now, for strictly personal reasons, I must leave.
Yeah,
That's a pretty quality one.
Okay, and the next one you guys are gonna hate me for.
okay.
A guy walks into a doctor's office. The doctor tells him, you need an operation. The guy says, I want a second opinion. The doctor says, okay, you're ugly too. That was my Data in the Outrageous Akana.
Oh yeah.
I thought it
Is that when?
No, I said Kittles, diddle I?
it's the really shitty setups. I also was like, should I put the one later on when he's like the person who like was fired, hired and fired the same day?
What was the punchline to that?
It was like this. It was something like a human cannonball.
Oh,
thing or
human
something.
cannonball. He was hired and fired in the
in the
same day.
Okay,
I really love.
For the record, I don't actually remember that happening, and that's probably because my mind has erased it on purpose.
I think my favorite bit from that episode is when Data and Joe Piscopo are having the Jerry Lewis off and they're making the weird noises.
Oh,
And then Data's like, oh, so if you put funny teeth in your mouth and jump around like an idiot, that is considered funny. Just fucking shading Joe Piscopo.
and also in that episode, I liked "Take My Wharf, Please."
I think that's what we named the episode.
I
too.
believe you're correct, yes.
I loved it. I love it. It's so funny. Okay, next one is from Loud as a Whisper. Riker this is Picard's going down to the planet to see I forgot what his name is.
Riva?
Yeah. Riker goes, "You will be careful, sir." And Picard goes, "Oh, cluck, 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 number one." And then Riker goes, "Sir?" And then Picard's like, "You're being a mother hen." It's so dumb, but I love it. Okay, next one. This is, I think, one of my favorite. I think this is also in like my favorite moments section. This is the eulogy of Dr. Ira Graves.
Yeah.
This is Data
It was
in
like,
the
to know
Schizoid
him
Man.
is to love him.
Oh, the whole thing was so perfect. It goes, just look at that face. The face of a thinker, a warrior, a man for all seasons. Yes, Ira Graves was all that and more, but he was not perfect. Perhaps his greatest flaw was that he was too selfless. He cared too much for his fellow man with nary a thought for himself. A man of limitless accomplishments and unbridled modesty. I can safely say that to know him was to love him, and to love him was to know him. Those who knew him loved him, while those who did not know him loved him from afar. It's so good. It's like the Picard cuts him off.
Yeah. And it's like, that's not even the end of it, too, because he keeps
Oh
going.
yeah, he keeps going. I just the love him was to know him.
Yeah, yeah.
I am almost finished, sir. You are finished, Data.
Okay, next one is from The Measure of a Man. It's actually by Philippa says this. It's at the beginning of the episode when she sees Picard. And she goes, I never thought I'd say this, but it's good to see you again. It brings a sense of order and stability to my universe to know that you're still a pompous ass. And a damn sexy man.
There's also the bit at the beginning where they first meet up. Picard's like, do you know what I would do if there weren't all these people around? And she's like, what's the chair across my teeth? Yeah. He's like, after that. And she's like, ain't love grand. And then it goes into the opening.
Oh, man. She was a fun guest star, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is from the Dauphin. And it's Worf. So Wesley has gone to Worf for whatever reason for advice. And it just, like, the scene starts with Worf just yelling. And then Worf goes, that is how Klingon
lures a mate.
Lures a mate. And then Wes goes, are you telling me to go yell at Celia? And then Worf goes, no, men do not roar, women roar. Then they hurl heavy objects and claw at you. And
literally Wes looks like he's getting a boner while saying that.
And
actually, sorry, double boner.
Oh, God. And then
it's canon.
Wes goes, what does the man do? And Worf goes, he reads love poetry. He ducks a lot.
I love, like, and then Wes goes like, I don't think that's my style. And Worf is just like, then beg like a human.
Yeah. And then next one is same episode, but it's Guinan in her, after her exchange with Riker. And Wes is like, I don't know if this is my thing. And then Guinan goes, shut up, kid. Tell me more about my eyes.
Yeah. That whole exchange is gold.
Oh, it's
where
so
they're just,
good.
Throwing the cheesy lines back at each other.
Oh, I loved it. It was such a good scene.
Mm-hmm.
Next is from the Royale. That Texas goes, time to get down to business. And Data goes, what sort of business do you suppose he's getting down to?
My favorite bit from that episode is when they first go to, like, the check-in counter. And Worf is like freaking out a little bit, and he's like, where are we? Who is this place? How did you get here? And he's like, this is the Hotel Royale, and my personal life is none of your business.
So the next one is from Pen Pals. This is a bit more of like a person, like, this is not like a funny line, it's just like, hit me. Picard goes, it seems that some creatures have the capacity to fill spaces you never knew were empty. And he's talking about a horse. But I was like, this is applicable for me with dogs.
Yeah.
Not horses. Horses are fine. But I was like, wow,
the
Picard.
episode called you out a little bit.
It did. And then same with Worf. He has a line in The Emissary, which also I felt very called out for. Worf goes, I've noted some people use humor as a shield. They talk much, yet say little. And I was like, wow, Worf. And I took that personally, so I was like,
just
wow,
at
rude.
Me next time.
Yeah. And then this is also like not a funny line, but it's for Picard in Peak Performance, and he goes, and Commander, it is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not weakness, that is life. And I was like, wow, very poignant.
Yeah, that's like one of the standout lines from Star Trek. It gets quoted
really
a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. The last one is also in Peak Performance. Data goes, if the warp engines fail to function, the result could be unfortunate. And then Worf goes, very unfortunate. We will be dead. I don't know why I find that so funny.
I love how blunt Worf is.
Oh, yeah. There is no, like, pussyfooting around with Worf. Okay, so now favorite moments. A lot of these are, like, very tiny things, but I just, made me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Mm-hmm. First is the Sherlock holodeck stuff from Elementary Dear Data. All of it.
Yeah.
I loved it. Of course, as mentioned earlier, Dr. Ira Graves' eulogy by Data. The Yar hologram in The Measure of a Man. That was like, right in the feelings. Guinan and Riker flirting, their thing in the Dauphin. The iconic, the gateway to Toronto in Contagion.
Yeah.
That was just so funny. Oh, okay. Worf answering the phone in the Royale.
Oh, yeah, that's super good.
Next is Riker and Troy explaining like Lwaxana's horny state to Picard.
Oh yeah.
Just them hanging around in Manhunt and his they're just hanging out on the couch and they're explaining basically like you're in the running to be Troy's new dad. I just enjoyed that. It was very like I don't know. Riker and Troy in that scene were very fun. And then I did put for favorite moments Riker horny dreaming in actually Shades of Grey because I thought that's so funny. They just like put that in there. And it's so random, but I like was laughing when they just keep showing all these scenes and like a bunch with Minuet, and I was like, okay, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, it kind of counts as a favorite moment and a favorite line. Mm-hmm. It's an emissary where Kilara walks in and her and Worf have a little back and forth, and I forget what he says to initiate this, but she says like, well, there's something wrong with you. You're not even looking at me. And Worf just goes, I'm familiar with your appearance. Worf always gets like the best like one-liners.
He really does.
He's great.
He is mostly one-liners throughout TNG.
Yeah.
Except in the episodes where he's like featured more heavily. I am glad they moved away from that because I noticed at first they were giving lots of the one-liners to Geordi, and I'm glad that they've gone in a different direction with him and made him a more serious character.
Yeah, I wish he still had the flavor he had from the first season.
It was good wisecracking.
Yeah, like with his current position. Mm-hmm. But I do like Geordi as a character, so it's like they didn't like. I don't think they ruined him or anything.
No, I actually quite like how they develop him going onwards. So yeah.
Yeah, but it was nice seeing him like more animated and stuff. There's a little moment in Measure of a Man where they're having like the going away party for Data. Oh, and yes. And Data's unwrapping a present and he's doing it like super carefully. You know, everyone's like, Data, you're missing the point of unwrapping a present. And he's unwrapped it fully already and he just like tears it in half to like satisfy everybody.
Aww.
I thought that was funny. But also in defense of Data, I open presents the same way. I try to open it like without ripping the paper if possible.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who do that. I do it sometimes depending on what the wrapping paper looks like. If it's nice, then like I want to keep it in one piece.
It's also just like a puzzle for me to unravel, you know? It's like, can I do this? Can I not rip the paper, you know?
Okay, so the next section is favorite made me want to scream moment, which is like fear, frustration, anger, etc.
Yeah.
So first one is the whole episode of The Child.
Yeah. Yeah, that episode makes me
and like these angry. So when I say favorite in this category, I mean like what made me the angriest. Mm-hmm. Not like, oh, I love this. No, it's what made me the angriest.
Yeah.
Or most scared. Every time Dr. P says or implies that Data is like less than or whatever, that made me so furious. This really shitty line from Dr. Ira Graves in The Schizoid Man, he goes, women aren't people, they're women. Fuck you, Ira. Rotten hell.
Yeah.
People aren't people. They're people.
Oh my God, there's like a song that says that. I can't remember what it's called or who it's by, but it's like, people are people.
It's,
I don't know words.
Depeche Mode.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And
okay.
I think the song is just called People Are People. I'm not
I think so too, but...
Yeah. People are people, so why should it be? You and I should get along so awfully. Makes you think.
Oh. Okay, next one is Bruce. I fucking hate Bruce.
Yep. Yeah, fuck Bruce.
Next is when, in the Icarus Factor, when Troy said, Dr. Pulaski's greatest medical skill is her empathy.
It is?
When? No. So, like, no, that makes no sense. No, Troy.
To play off of that whole episode makes me angry because no one gets Riker's side of things. No one talks to him about how he feels.
The next one I have listed is just says Kyle Riker. I'm angry. I hate him. He's such a... Ugh.
And I recognize that for the time, that style of parenting was not considered, like, you know, as fucked up as it is now.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's not fucked up.
Yeah.
We are going to meet other characters' families, and you'll find that the majority of them tend to have kind of strained relationships with them.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be a thing, which seems to kind of be a theme in Star Trek, because, I mean, we didn't meet many characters' families back in the original series. I think we only met Spock's parents, whom he had a strained relationship with. So, you know, it's something that'll continue going forward.
The thing is that, like, that's just a general theme of, like, real life, though.
That's true.
Is, like, people not having great relationships with their family. Or having something weird.
I think that's probably one of the reasons that Avery Brooks was so happy to take the role in DS9, where it's not that. He has a good relationship with his son.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And I know that there's a lot of... Because Avery Brooks is black, just FYI. There's a lot of people who, like, looked on that as, like, a very positive representation of black fatherhood.
Yeah, that was his intention with it, apparently. He's like, I want to be this kind of role model.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
But that's Deep Space Nine, so we shouldn't get into that.
Spoilers, there's a character in it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I just mean we shouldn't get too sidetracked with that.
Fair.
Okay, next one. The Red Doctor uniforms in Samaritan Snare.
Oh, yeah.
Those are terrifying.
You're going to love him next
Yeah.
time you see him. And the time after that, and the time after that.
They always remind me of David Cronenberg.
Good.
So, which makes them, like, extra scary.
Nice.
The next is the clone stuff. Riker and Dr. P killing their clones.
Oh,
yeah.
That clone stuff was really messed up, which is
Yeah.
related to the next one that made me so mad, was the conclusion of Up the Long Ladder.
Yes.
Where Brenna is there. She's like, you guys just made all these plans without, like, any other consideration. You just want to make, like, women baby machines. And they were like, well, I mean, Brenna, if you don't want to do it, you can, like, we can drop you off a different starbase and you'll just never see your friends and family again. And
Yeah.
she's like, okay, I guess I can get on board. And it's like, how is this is the shittiest conclusion? It's like,
Yeah.
be a baby making machine or never see your friends and family again. Like, what? That's messed up, and that just was, like, infuriating.
Yeah. There's, like, looking back on that episode, like, I always remember that episode as, like, ooh, that's very, like, you know, offensive towards the Irish. And then it's like, oh, yeah, there's all sorts of other messed up shit in there, too.
Ooh, shame and dishonor on your house.
That's, like, when you rewatch the episode, I'm like, that's one of the problems I'm, like, that's, like, way lower on the list of, like, shit that's messed up here.
Yep. Okay, so next category is favorite location. This is a short one. Favorite location, number 1 is 10 Forward. Fun new place. And then the second one is the Klingon cafeteria in A Matter of Honor.
Nice.
Because they have some good times in that cafeteria.
Yeah.
I think that's the last time you'll see a Klingon cafeteria, but it's not the last time that you'll see cool Klingon locations.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I enjoy the Klingon stuff.
Yeah, thinking about it, there actually weren't a lot of, like, other locations in this season.
Yeah, they didn't do as many, like, planet things as they did in season 1.
No, they did. Well, okay, part of that is that their planet set is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do get around that going forward. They'll, when they do planet stuff, they'll end up doing things inside of buildings a lot, so they don't have to use the shitty planet set. They will do some on-location stuff going forward as well.
It's always nice because you can really tell what's on location.
Yes.
And, like, Picard with the horse, that was, like, almost jarring to see him and Data outside for real.
Yep.
Yeah, it was real weird to see Troy, like, in her whole Star Trek getup in the real world.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
just in a
wild.
grassy field.
There's actually an episode next season where a massive portion of it takes place on location.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Ooh.
that's great.
Yeah. It's very great.
Okay, next category, super short. I mentioned this earlier. Favorite episodes for me, Elementary, Dear Data, and The Measure of a Man. Enjoyed those immensely. Okay, I have to continue this section because it's inspired, this category was inspired by that one character in The Long Goodbye My favorite rando guy.
I thought it was The Big Goodbye.
Oh, The Big Goodbye? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I've been saying The Long Goodbye. The Big Goodbye. Yes, that one. So, favorite character we only see in one episode. So, I put the guy from the front desk at the Royale. Because he was so wild. Just like telling the whole story, him and that guy about, Mickey D. and all those guys. That whole story was wild. I also have Moriarty in Elementary Dear Data. He was real fun.
Yeah, that's one of mine.
Yeah. Brenna was great up until the end. And then Kalar.
Yeah.
And the Emissary.
Yes.
They were great.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Kalar is like, I think Kalar is my absolute favorite.
She was awesome.
From the episode. Like a favorite character that only appears once.
Yeah. Okay, next category, costumes. Okay. There was some good ones, but I had to pick my favorite. Obviously, Data and Geordie's Sherlock and Watson outfits.
Yep.
Mickey D's white suit in the Royale. Riker and his dad in the Ambo Jitsu match.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking ridiculous outfits. All of Lwaxana Troy's outfits in Manhunt.
Yes, yeah.
And Kalar's red jumpsuit in the Emissary. That was, like, I mean, Kalar's got a lot of great outfits, but the red jumpsuit was just, like, wonderful.
Yeah, that was my absolute favorite costume of the season, was her red jumpsuit.
So good.
With the little jacket and, like, the gold bracelets up the arms. Yeah.
So good. My last category is what I've called I didn't do this last season, but maybe I'll do that going forward. I have season MVP. And in my opinion, my MVP of season 2 is Worf.
Nice.
I have a whole new, like, I liked Worf season 1, who's fine. Season 2, I love Worf. Like, okay, we'll start. I've got a list of things of what I like, stuff that he did this season.
Growl for me. Let me know that you still care.
Now that you say it, I 1000% agree. I agree. I think Worf's the MVP. But I definitely want to hear your list.
Okay, number 1. I loved it when he was admiring the Antidian dignitaries, like their outfits on their way to the conference. He was like, really, like, oh, they look so nice.
What a handsome race.
Yeah, and I just was like, honestly, Worf, that is adorable. I enjoy that, even though they ended up basically being terrorists.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the tea service that he did with Dr. P.
Oh, yeah, where she just did it for him.
Yeah, and she took the shot so she didn't die.
Yeah.
I love that he got his ascension service thing, where like he was like tortured. He, like, by the end of it, he was like, "Thank you." And I was like, "A Worf." I love his like low key insulting way to tell Geordie the plan in Samaritan Snare, when he's like, "Geordie, if you tell them like secrets, you won't like." You'll die without honor or something like, and you won't ascend to this level. And Geordie's like, gee, thanks, Worf. And then Worf's like, yeah, something. And he says 24 a bunch of times to tell him, but it's just like
you'll never like reach the 24th level of ascension or some shit. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do love that, like, he just was like insulting Geordie while he did it to like, I was like, that is very funny. I like that he was the only one who liked Riker's eggs.
Oh yeah.
Everybody else was like, nope. But Worf was like, oh, I like it. I enjoyed Lwaxana Troy says to Worf, you would have made a fine choice. Worf just killing it at poker this season.
Yeah.
Everything with Kalar, they were great.
Yeah.
And he got to be fake captain for like a scene.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which was really nice. We got to find out that he makes models in Peak Performance because he breaks that stick.
Yeah.
I love that he's like, Worf is hardcore Team Riker, because not only did he like he in the Icarus Factor, he's like, I'll go with you. He's like, if you're gonna go be on that ship, I will leave with you. And then he is Team Riker for Peak Performance as well. So that's cute. And then he's like basically puts together the like big fake illusion like Romulan ship in Peak Performance. So he does like the trickery. But I think Worf just had like a great season. Worf is MVP. Yeah. Worf has really shot up on terms of my list of like favorites.
And also, he's like, he keeps getting shot down, but he like actually has a head on his shoulders. Cause,
yes.
like,
yeah, very much so.
Yeah, in Matter of Honor, he thinks to give Riker a like a little transponder thing, like so that they can emergency transport him.
Oh yeah, that was smart as hell.
Yeah, in Samaritan Snare, he's like, should we really send our chief engineer over?
Never to be seen again.
Yeah. He's the one that comes up with the idea, because Kaylar's just like, you're going to have to kill these Klingons. It's hopeless. And Worf comes up with the idea to, like, basically trick them to, like, pretend that they're Klingon commanders or whatever.
Yeah. Like, Worf just was, like, A++ this season. And I'm psyched to see what's next for him, because I enjoy Worf immensely. Like, I think as a character, he's super, super interesting. And he does all these, like, kind of, not silly necessarily, but, like, little things here and there that I suppose that maybe are, like, not supposed to be funny. I find funny. But I enjoy, like, as a character, his, like, how much he wants to be part of Klingon culture.
Yeah.
But also, I guess, has been exposed so much to, like, humans and other races that it's not, his first thought is not immediately, like, with Kaylar's like, okay, let's just, like, kill all the Klingons because, like, they're gonna try to kill us first and whatever. And he's like, or we could not.
Yeah.
So like, I like that he wants to be part of his culture, but also can, like, know a way to, like, step back and look at it from outside as well. Mm-hmm. I just enjoy him so much.
So I do have some bad news for you, unfortunately. He doesn't get a lot of focus in the upcoming season. However, the upcoming season sees a lot of changes in the show, which I think you might end up noticing near immediately, which is great. We end up losing Maurice Hurley for good. So goodbye, Mr. Hurley. So in season 3, a new person takes over, a guy by the name of Michael Piller. Michael Piller was a friend of, I think it was Rick Berman, who is one of the lead producers on the show. And he's there for, like, the rest of Star Trek, basically. Rick Berman has problems, and I can get into him later. But yeah, so we see Michael Piller taking over. Unfortunately, we see the departure of writer Melinda Snodgrass, who you would remember as having written Measure of a Man episode. Somebody else ends up taking over writing Data episodes and honestly does it justice. We'll see the introduction of writers Ronald D. Moore and Ira Stephen Bear, who become mainstays of the series going forward, as well as Renee Echeverria, who becomes really big on DS9. Ronald D. Moore, who I mentioned, actually gets known within Star Trek as the Klingon guy, and he'll end up writing a lot of stuff involving Worf going forward. Also, Jonathan Frakes gets to direct episodes next season.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Party.
Yeah.
And you'll see that Jonathan Frakes is a really good director.
He is a good director. He's actually directed episodes of the newer Star Trek series as well.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He's directed a lot of episodes in a bunch of different Star Trek series.
Yep. I think throughout all of them following TNG, he had directed episodes.
But Worf does get some good stuff throughout the series.
Yes.
Nice.
So the next season isn't too Worf heavy, but he'll definitely get some stuff throughout the series.
Yeah. I think, like, now at the end of season 2, my favorites are Data and Worf.
Good. Oh, you'll get some
Yeah.
great Data stuff coming up, but I cannot tell you anything more.
Ooh, nice.
And it may be a while.
Yeah.
You'll get better Troy moments coming up, which is
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, definitely good.
Yeah.
They really solidify what her character is in the upcoming season, I would say. Even though there's still a lot of moments where she's just kind of pushed to the side in order to provide exposition, when she is featured, they more often than not do a good job with it, which is great.
That's
Yeah.
good. Because she's so wasted. She's, like, she's such a cool character. And, like, when they really utilize her, you can see, like, how interesting she is. But they don't do it that often.
No, they don't. There's there's a Beverly episode next season, which is quite a good one. Yep.
There's also a Geordi episode.
There is.
Yay.
There is. I will not go into that one, but that one establishes things you never knew about his character, and it's kind of why a lot of people make jokes about him being an incel, but we won't get into that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
You'll
sounds
see.
like
Don't worry about it. Don't
bad.
worry about it.
It's not that bad.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, he doesn't get many.
No, he doesn't.
Like focused episodes, but he definitely has a presence throughout the series.
Yeah, we get to
That's
meet a B character who will be a reoccurring character throughout the series. We get to do a Vulcan episode, so that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
And more
Yeah.
Guinan, or same amount of
Yes.
Guinan.
Oh, definitely more Guinan. Actually,
Definitely more Guinan.
I would say that one of Guinan's standout episodes is coming up.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah,
I like Guinan a lot.
good.
I think season 3 has probably one of the most standout moments of the series.
Yes,
Ooh.
yes, but we
Yeah.
can't tell you. We won't even tell you when it's coming up. You're just gonna see it and be like,
Yeah.
"Man, that was fucking good."
Yeah. Want to give you a little taste, little appetizer of season 3. But yeah, we won't get too into it. But yeah, that's some of the things you can expect in the upcoming season.
Ooh.
So, let's get into prediction review.
Oh boy.
Unfortunately, this first episode is a rough one. For this first one, I have to warn you, there is a trigger warning for mention of sexual assault. We won't get into details, but just so you're aware. So the first episode of season 2 is called The Child. And what we told you is that we gave you a preview of season 2 saying that we have to say goodbye to someone and that we meet some new people. And the only clue I gave you about the episode was that it was very problematic and it involved Troy. So you said, Dory, first of all, you said, okay, let's make it real bad.
No.
And you said, I hope I'm really wrong. You wanted to be very wrong about this episode. And you said that Troy would go baby crazy and steal a baby. That would have been better.
Yeah, even though like it's such a like kind of misogynistic
Yeah.
kind of approach, and like I hate the prediction of it, but I was thinking it's the 80s, so this was still seem normal.
What actually happened is that Troy gets sexually assaulted by an alien sparkle and gets impregnated, and then the kid grows super fast and kills himself because he's interfering with some bacteria bullshit. So that was a trip.
I hate it. I hate
Yeah.
it so much.
Yay, drugs.
Yep. Now on to the more fun things. The next episode, Where Silence Has a Lease, our hint was that it was a cool space mystery with a disappointing ending. Your guess was that, first of all, you said, the name sounds weird in my earballs. You said, space entity steals everyone's voice. Basically, there's a space Ursula. You said Riker would be Eric. And I think I said Picard would be Ariel. And you toyed with the idea of rewriting The Little Mermaid with Star Trek characters. Or rewriting Star Trek as The Little Mermaid. So your actual prediction was like that the voices would be used to like power something, but it turns out they don't actually do that. And everything was useless. What actually happened is this weird space entity fucks with the Enterprise, kills a guy, and then basically fucks off for no reason.
I like mine better.
Yeah, yours is definitely more interesting. Elementary Gear data, we told you that there would be more holodeck shenanigans. You got very excited. You said...
I think I was pretty close.
You were
with
basically
this.
right on the money.
Yeah.
You were basically
Yeah.
right on the money with this one. You said that, Data would play Sherlock on the holodeck. Data needs to find someone that was kidnapped, which was, like, very correct.
Yeah.
You said that you wanted Geordi to be Watson, but you think
Yeah.
it was going to be Worf, Wesley, or some random. Well, you got your wish. You basically predicted the episode. Dr. P gets kidnapped. You didn't predict, however, that Moriarty would gain consciousness.
Yeah, that's my bad.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
honestly, it was so obvious.
Yeah, exactly. So the next episode, The Outrageous Okana, our hint to you was that the crew meets a discount Han Solo and also Joe Piscopo. You said they go to a new planet. That Joe Piscopo is the dad of discount Han Solo. That he's a smuggler, and a member of the crew accidentally buys, like, some stolen goods from him. And that, like, Joe's worried about his son or whatever. What happens in that episode is Okana ships break down, the Enterprise picks him up, he makes a bunch of bad jokes and fucks everybody. Almost fucks Worf.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, I can't believe I didn't write that down.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
And in the last 10 minutes of the episode, he's in some bullshit drama with, like, a Romeo and Juliet BS bullshit.
So, like, I wasn't 100% wrong, because I did say I thought he was a smuggler, and he was smuggling the people back and forth.
Yeah, that's
to
true.
See each other, so...
Oh, yeah, and Joe Piscopo was just, like, a comedy hologram to help Data with the jokes. All right, for Loud as a Whisper, told you that Deanna gets some romance and the Enterprise has to accommodate for disability. So you said that they basically, on their way to somewhere else, they pick up a guy who is hearing impaired to, like, give him a ride to somewhere else, and him and Troy develop a romance. Which is, like, not far off
yeah.
from what the episode is. It's like, he's a diplomat who is hearing impaired. You're right about that. Being transported to, you know, have negotiations with, like, some warring factions or whatever. And indeed, he and Deanna develop a romance. The episode sort of focuses on his interpreters get killed, and he kind of has to figure out how to do things without their help. Next is Schizoid Man. Our hint to you was that we meet an old pervert and do some body swapping. You said we go to a new planet. The old pervert is stuck there and switches bodies in order to try to escape.
I mean...
It's not that far off.
Accurate.
The old perv steals Data's body to escape death, and he ends up in the ship's computer, never to be thought of again.
But he goes into Data's body so he could fuck his ward that he raised.
Yes.
Just freaking weird.
His adoptive daughter, essentially. So
yeah.
Gross. Unnatural selection. Our clue was that Dr. Pulaski faces her own mortality. I wrote down Dory seemed positive about the hint. You said...
I don't know what that means.
Yeah. You see, like, you were really disappointed about the title, and then as soon as we said Dr. P faces her mortality, you're like, oh. You said, we go to a new planet, and you said some people have been hurt, and Pulaski thinks they're, like, stupid because she thinks, like, they should have been able to avoid it or whatever, and then she gets injured the same way and is humbled, basically.
I mean, like, I'm wrong, but
it's like you're on the right track, sort of. It's basically like this disease from a space station makes you age fast. It's caused by their genetically engineered children, and Pulaski gets, like, too cavalier with examining the kids and stuff like that, and she gets sick, and they fix everything with the magic transporter. Because it do be like that. A matter of honor. This your prediction was fun for this one. Our hint was that it was Riker focused, and that Riker gets to know some Klingons while being an exchange student. You said one of your first things is like, I just assume Riker is always down to clown. He said Riker goes to a training program, like, open to everyone, like, it's a place where, like, all sorts of races and things congregate, and he becomes study buddies with a lady Klingon. And then you said, I just think Riker's gonna fuck a Klingon. What actually happens is that Riker does a stint on a Klingon ship, and he learns about their culture. A misunderstanding leads to the Klingons thinking that the Enterprise is trying to attack them. You know, Riker has to take over the ship. He does make friends with the Klingon dude. As far as we know, he doesn't fuck a Klingon. but they do joke about it.
Yes, yeah, in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
The lady Klingons, like, looking him up and down, if you will.
Yeah. The next episode was The Measure of a Man. Our hint to you was that Data's humanity gets measured and that there's a trial. You start off by saying, how many episodes can we have about Data's humanity? And your prediction basically came down to Q comes in and fucks around, and the crew needs to prove to him that Data has some humanity to him. The actual truth was that Bruce...
Fuck you, Bruce.
...comes on board and wants to take apart Data. Data's declared the property of Starfleet, and they have to have a trial to prove that he has the right to choose. That was, like, nothing funny about that. That was just a great episode.
Yeah.
Your guess is something Star Trek would totally do, though.
Oh.
The next episode was The Dauphin. Our hint was that Wesley falls in love. And I didn't know this at the time, but it turns out you were thrown off because they used the male form of the word.
I kind of remember my prediction on this one.
Yeah, so you assumed that the Dauphin was going to be a boy or a man.
Because that's the spelling of it.
Yeah.
The dolphin.
Yeah, your guess was like a mistaken identity thing, that Wes and the Dauphin would switch places, and then he falls in love with like a princess or something while he's pretending to be royalty. Which sounds like a fun episode, not gonna lie. So what actually happens is that they have to transport a young girl who's gonna be the leader of like a planet with like warring sides. Yeah. And her and Wes, you know, they develop a little romance, and she turns into Chewbacca.
Accurate.
The next episode was Contagion, and we assured you that it was not virus related. I think our hint was that the Enterprise explores the history of an ancient extinct race, and that something real bad happens. Very specific hint there.
Very specific.
Your guess was that the Enterprise and another ship would crash into each other and, like, get stuck together, and they have to, like, figure out how to save everybody. And that the other ship... Because then you suddenly remembered that the ancient aliens thing. And then you're like, oh, I guess the other ship, like, came through a time wormhole, and that's how they crashed.
Perfection.
Yeah. Honestly, though, your episode idea sounds really awesome, because I'd love to see that as a plot line of, like, two starships crashing into each other. I think that'd be really fucking cool. So what actually happened in the episode is that this other ship is exploring the ruins on some planet, and the Enterprise goes to help because they're having issues. The other ship blows up, and the Enterprise, you know, has all these problems and shit. The Romulans come to hang out, and Picard has to blow up the gateway to Toronto.
Goodbye, Toronto. We hardly knew ye.
Next was the Royale.
Clearly known as the greatest episode of Star Trek ever made.
Yeah. Our hint to you was that the gang visits a casino in Purgatory.
Oh my god, I remember this prediction.
Yeah. So you took the term Purgatory literally. Oh yeah, you said... Okay, there was a little exchange off the top that I wrote down. You said, I have an idea, but it's dumb. I told you, you've seen how dumb this show can get. And you responded, yeah, but I've learned that I can go dumber. So you said that there's a planet called Purgatory. Data gets in trouble at the casino, and the gang has to gamble to earn enough money to bail him out. Because he goes to casino jail.
I think I also said a heist at some point.
Yeah. You said, like, the first thing you think of with casinos is heists.
Yeah.
But you thought that Star Trek wouldn't do that. What actually happens is the gang goes to a weird casino in a void, and they have to play out parts of a really terribly written novel that aliens assumed was how Earth worked after they kidnapped an astronaut from the 22nd century. This episode was stupid. The next episode was Time Squared. Our hint was that Picard comes face to face with himself. You said, first of all, you got so excited that you basically started to panic. you started like 10 different ideas. And then you said, I'm taking this literally. You said the Enterprise comes through a wormhole that brings them through time to just before they enter the wormhole. And then there are 2 ships, and they have to stop themselves from going through. So they're like, because they're like, hey, dumbasses, don't go. You know, the truth wasn't that far off, honestly. The Enterprise encounters a shuttlecraft with another Picard on it. They realize he's from the future and that he left the Enterprise after an encounter with a space anomaly that destroys the Enterprise. So there's some conflict there that they think Picard abandoned the ship. They figure out what the solution is. I forgot it. But Picard murders his double in cold blood. The next episode was the Icarus Factor.
Oh, God.
And we just told you that this was the daddy issues episode. You said you really wanted it to be Riker's dad.
Yeah.
You said you pictured Riker's dad as being exactly like him, but bigger. Like, just someone even taller and with a beard. Because Jonathan Frakes is already pretty tall. You said you wanted it to be Riker's dad, but you said you feel like it's going to be Troy's dad. But you gave a prediction for Riker's dad. But you said you think it's actually going to be Troy's dad. You said his dad is in Starfleet as well, comes to visit him to see how he's doing, and he oversteps his bounds because he doesn't let Riker deal with his own shit, and he fucks something up really badly.
I mean...
it's not that far off. Not that far off. Yeah. Riker's offered a command, and his dad, who's also in Starfleet, you got that right, comes to bring him the news. We find out they haven't talked in, like, I think they say 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, something along those lines. We find out his dad and Dr. P boned down. And then Riker and his dad play American Gladiators to figure out the problems.
His dad sucks.
Yeah. The episode after that was Pen Pals. Our hint was that Data makes a friend and that it deals with the Prime Directive. You started off by saying, we'll see where my mouth takes me. You kept forgetting that it was a new friend, so you kept coming up with plots about like how this is an old friend reconnecting with Data. And then your actual prediction was not that far off. You said that they're like passing by a planet and Data gets a message and the person asks for help and Data has to tell them no because for whatever reason it'll violate the Prime Directive. Yeah, so what actually happens in the episode is they go to this, like, they're doing, like, some scientific mission to figure out why all these planets are blowing up. Data's doing his own project, like, with a ham radio, basically. He starts getting messages from this little girl, and they develop a friendship. Then it turns out that the girl's planet's gonna blow up, and the gang has to decide whether to stick to the Prime Directive or let an entire planet die. So, hard decision. The next episode was Q Who. We told you what our hint was is that Q shows the Enterprise that there are some things in the universe they aren't ready to understand. In this, you said, like, somewhere in space there's a plane of time where it's purgatory. Maybe people are stuck in between, and then you basically go on to describe the plot of where no one has gone before. like you straight up just described the whole plot.
I just jacked that plot.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Then you said, fuck it, Q shows them purgatory. That's the prediction.
Perfect. Q shows them the Royale.
Yeah. The truth is that this is pretty simple. Q introduces them to the Borg. And they have to deal with that. The next episode was Samaritan Snare. Our hint to you was that the crew runs into the dumbest people in the galaxy and that Picard goes on a road trip with Wesley. We actually ended up talking a lot about Bible stuff and ethnic relations in the ancient Middle East. We got real off to the rails during the predictions part of this episode.
No, I'd say it makes sense.
Yeah. I think you ended up going with that the ship needs some sort of part because they're doing a special thing and that they split up to try to find it. Like, that's why Picard and Wesley go here, and the rest of the ship goes there, and they deal with some dumbasses.
Technically, I mean, Picard did need a part replaced.
Yeah.
Hey-oh, that was not funny. Get out of my podcast.
Yeah. So what actually happened was that dumbasses tricked the Enterprise into giving them Geordi as a hostage, and Picard escorts Wes to his Starfleet exams because he needs to have heart surgery.
Needs a heart.
I have to pause. I really have to go to the bathroom.
Okay, so do I, so I will be right back.
Okay, so it's just me now. What do I do? It's just me. I just sit in silence. It's very hot in my apartment. Turned off the AC to record, and now it's hot in here. Also have my fan off, so it's hot in here.
Okay, sorry. It was like at emergency levels.
No worries. Jeff went also.
I've returned.
All right. The next episode is Up the Long Ladder. What I gave you is that we're going super old school with our racism because we're making fun of the Irish. And then the actual episode hint was the Enterprise has to deal with a colony of Irish stereotypes and a second colony of super advanced people. Not that the Irish aren't advanced, but the other colony is they're farmers, but they're all like, yeah, they're all unfortunate stereotypes. Okay, you said whatever I say is gonna sound bad. So you said the super advanced people hate the sort of farmer folk. So they make up some sort of fake conflict or whatever, so the Enterprise has to come help. And then the Enterprise offers to take the farmers to a different planet so that they can live in peace and without discrimination. It's a very nice, positive ending, which we do not get.
Yeah, get the opposite.
We also went off the rails on the prediction section of this episode because we end up talking about the Troubles a lot and the nature of whiteness. So,
oh yes,
the truth is that basically they just force, like, the Irish farmers' planet is gonna like explode or whatever. There's some natural disaster. They save them. They also run into this colony of clones because they came from like they were on the same ship at one point, and then they basically look down on the fact that the other colony reproduces via cloning, and then they force the farmers to be, as they call it in the episode, breeding stock.
Ugh.
So there's that. The episode after that was Manhunt. We told you that Lwaxana Troi, Deanna's mom, is looking for love. You were very excited about this. You said, okay, she's looking for a guy. They stop at a new planet, and she meets a guy at like a bar, but it turns out he's like a wanted criminal. So the title is like a double meaning.
She did meet a guy at a bar.
Did she?
The bartender.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, she hits it
right.
off with him.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh.
Right. So what actually happened is just that she has like menopause but horny. And she sexually harasses the crew, especially Picard.
And then Riker.
And she basically like is like, we're getting married. Without talking to him once. And Picard hides out in the holodeck to avoid her. Next episode was The Emissary. And the hint that we gave you was that Worf gets a lady friend, and that she was actually a former lady friend. Your guess was that Worf is forced to be the bodyguard of his ex, the Emissary. They go down on a planet and get ambushed, and then they have to like work with each other to survive. And
which is a very Trek idea.
Yeah, and there was only one bed.
I think this is also basically the plot of a romance novel I read once.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, you straight up say it's like, oh, it's like the bodyguard trope.
Oh, yeah.
what actually happens is like sort of it's not entirely off. You say that he is forced to work with his ex, and his ex is the emissary, but they don't have to like go down onto a planet or whatever. They have to figure out how to talk down these old Klingons that have been frozen, and also they bone on the holodeck. So there's that.
More like holodeck.
Peak Performance was the next episode, and we told you that we see how Riker deals with command. You guessed that Picard would be off stuck doing crew evaluations, and that Riker would have to take over. The truth is that some annoying bitch comes on board to observe them do some war games, and then Data has a crisis of confidence.
Oh, Data.
Yeah. And that's all the predictions for season 2.
Nice.
You honestly didn't do too bad.
I have some there's some surprise low-key on the nose ones.
Yeah.
But,
there's some real hits and some real misses.
Yeah.
But overall, pretty good. You're getting a handle on the tropes and shit of Star Trek.
We go to a planet and no. Actually, you know what? We didn't go to nearly as many planets in season 2. It feels like every episode in season 1 we were going to a planet, but season 2, I think it was very ship based.
Yeah, it definitely was. But that's not a bad place to start. That's a very, it's an episodic show, so that's just kind of that's how they start their adventure for this episode. Is usually they're visiting some new planet or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's not it's not bad to guess that.
But now I think I know for future predictions that I don't always have to guess it's a planet. That they're going to a new planet.
So I think we'll end off here on what are your hopes and what are your wants and what do you think will happen in season 3?
Ooh. Well, I'm hoping still as I hope last season for consequences to actions, some kind of continuity at some point. I know we've seen, actually we did get the reason they did the war games in Peak Performance was because of the Borg, as kind of preparation for anything can happen. So I did like that. But yeah, I want to see more character development. I want to see some kind of overarching story, even though I know that's not likely to happen. I'd love for there to be holodeck episodes. I love the holodeck. Yeah, I think it's pretty much similar predictions. I want character development. I want plot development. And holodeck.
Is there anything that they started doing in season 2 that you don't want to see continue in season 3? Or anything you... Maybe just in general, anything you don't want to see in season 3.
There is some stuff, but let's say no repeating. You know what? Let's say more respect towards women. Mm-hmm. That could be really nice. That's what I'd really love to happen because this past season, I look at The Child and Up the Ladder, and that was pretty shitty to women. So that would be cool. But I also know it's the late 80s. Gonna go, I guess this is they go into 1990 in this season, so the expectations are not high. I know to not really bet on that. Respect for women comes later. No, Christ.
I guess sort of for the final thoughts here, I want to know if you're in general enjoying your experience of sort of discovering Star Trek.
I am. I think especially now since I know the characters better, I'm more stakes are, as high as stakes can be in this show.
You're more invested.
Yes. So stuff with, because also nice. Season 1, I was Riker's fine, but I didn't. To me, he was a Ken doll / bro, but then we got to see more of Riker, get to see how he really is, and I'm okay, I don't see him. He's he's like a light bro, if you will. But I don't see him as a Ken doll anymore. I think because we've got more invested in the characters, we've gotten to learn more about them, that like I'm way more invested in the story and stakes. Because
it did take a while for that to happen, though.
Yeah, season 1 took a while to sort of get into it, like unless people were doing some really fucking wild shit for me to like be into that. But yeah, after season 2, we've gotten to see people in way more vulnerable places and more dimensions. So yeah, as I think I've said before, I'm in it to win it.
All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed our sort of reflecting on season 2. And I really hope you join us for our next episode, where we'll be starting season 3 of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Woot.
Hooray.
Dr. C. Dr. C.
Get to see Dr. Crusher again. So join us again for the next episode of... What is it called again?
Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
I genuinely forgot the name of our podcast. All right. Please join us for the next episode of Fully Functional, a TNG podcast.
Goodbye.